مایک پمپئو وزیر خارجه امریکا در مراسم اهدای جایزه زنان شجاع در وزارت امور خارجه آمریکا از تلاش زنان ایرانی تقدیر کرد. آقای پمپئو روز پنجشنبه 16 اسفند در مراسم اهدای جایزه زنان شجاع با اشاره به اعتراضهای یک سال گذشته زنان در ایران گفت: سال گذشته درست در همین موقع ده‌ها زن در سراسر ایران در اعتراض به قوانینی که آنها را مجبور به پوشیدن حجاب در اماکن عمومی می‌کند به خیابان‌ها ریختند. وی افزود: این زنان شجاع در استفاده از حق آزادی خود در برابر دوربین‌ها حجاب از سر خود برداشتند. چهره‌های آنها به وضوح قابل مشاهده بود. آنها با آگاهی از قساوت رهبران خود چنین کاری را کردند و روز بعد در روز بین المللی زن نیروهای پلیس به اعتراض آنها یورش بردند. بسیاری از این زنان دستگیر شدند، برخی از آنها در حبس مورد ضرب و شتم یا شکنجه قرار گرفتند و دست کم یکی از آنها به 20 سال زندان محکوم شد و دیگران وادار به خروج از کشور شدند. وزیر خارجه آمریکا افزود: گرفتاری این زنان ایرانی فقط یک نمونه از خطراتی است که بسیاری از زنان با آنها روبرو هستند. این 13مین سال است که وزارت خارجه از زنان شجاع تقدیر می‌کند. در این مراسم ملانیا ترامپ با اشاره به پیشرفت‌های زنان در آمریکا گفت: اکنون بیشترین تعداد زنان در کنگره آمریکا در تاریخ این کشور حضور دارند. همچنین نرخ بیکاری در آمریکا به کمترین حد در 35 سال اخیر رسیده است. جایزه زنان شجاع وزارت امور خارجه آمریکا امسال به زنانی از بنگلادش، برمه، جیبوتی، مصر، اردن، ایرلند، سریلانکا، پرو و تانزانیا تعلق گرفت.
Last year, right around this time, dozens of women across Iran took to city streets to protest the law requiring them to wear the hijab in public at all times. In an exercise of their freedom, these courageous women removed their hijabs in front of cameras, their faces clearly visible. They did so knowing the brutality of their leaders, and sure enough, a year ago tomorrow, on International Women's Day, state police swarmed their protest. Many women were arrested. Some faced torture and beatings in jail. At least one was sentenced to 20 years behind bars, and others were forced to flee abroad. The plight of these Iranian women is just one example of the danger facing many women and of the courage so often shown in the face of it. We're here today to honor women of courage from all around the world who are standing tall in the face of extraordinary adversity. This year's recipients include an anti-terror investigator from Djibouti who has put away numerous al-Shabaab terrorists, a Bangladeshi Rohingya lawyer who fights the abuse and trafficking of the Rohingya women and girls, an investigative journalist in Montenegro exposing corruption and organized crime who has been attacked multiple times, yet still continues her work, a Tanzanian lawyer who fights for human rights for women and girls and advocates for more female candidates for public office, a nun from Ireland who helped start a girls' boarding school in South Sudan, which has become a beacon of hope for girls who might otherwise be denied education and forced to enter early marriages, a chief of the Women's Police Department in Jordan who's been recognized for her work with victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse, a leader of a nationwide NGO in Egypt that serves the most impoverished urban slums and rural villages, an activist in Burma who has worked her entire life to support ethnic communities displaced by the decades-long civil war, a crusader against child exploitation in Sri Lanka who offers pro bono legal services to child victims of crimes, and finally, Peru's National Coordinator for Environmental Prosecutors who fights multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprises that fuel corruption, human trafficking, and destruction of natural resources in the Amazon. Please join me again with a round of applause. It's also important that we pause to recognize and honor those women who paid the ultimate price for their courageous efforts. Women like Katerina Hanzuk of Ukraine, who dedicated her journalism career to uncovering and calling out corruption. Even after a brutal acid attack, which ultimately claimed her life 3 months later, Katerina refused to be silenced. From her hospital bed, she demanded justice, setting a powerful example for her fellow citizens. Here at the State Department, stories like these motivate and inspire us. Our colleagues in the Office of Global Women's Issues work to integrate women's empowerment into our foreign policy, and our Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs assists in the push for inclusive quality education for girls and women all around the world. And at USAID, we're working on a new plan with a goal to empower at least 50 million women across developing countries. It's called the Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative. We're very proud of these efforts here at the State Department, but we acknowledge that work remains to ensure that participation of women exists in all spaces of public life and all across the world. You know, women of courage exist everywhere. Most will never be honored. They face different challenges, but challenges that still matters. I've personally, of course, had this experience as well. I've witnessed women's service in my time in the military and have been inspired by them in my personal life. My mother, too, was a woman of courage. She was born in rural Kansas. She helped make ends meet while raising 3 kids. She never managed to get to college, but made sure that each of us had enormous opportunity. You all know women like this. They're strong. She was dedicated to providing opportunity for me and my siblings, and we didn't appreciate the sacrifices that she had endured. And she also raised me to be really smart. I married another courageous woman, Susan, my wife, who's here with me today. We all know, I know, from a lifetime experience that women of courage exist everywhere, and they're needed everywhere. That's one reason I've appointed women to dozens of senior leadership roles here at the place I am privileged to work, from undersecretaries to assistant to secretaries to non-career ambassadorships. We know here we can't succeed without empowering women worldwide, and that means we need to make sure that we have women empowered at our department worldwide. And now it's my honor to welcome our distinguished guest speaker today, a woman of incredible power and courage, a woman who's been a powerful advocate in her own right. Since becoming First Lady, she's been increasingly outspoken against the enslavement of human trafficking and sexual abuse of women and girls all around the globe. I know she will continue to be an influential leader, an influential voice who inspires future women leaders like herself all around the world. Please join me in welcoming the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump.
Good morning. Thank you, Secretary Pompeo, for a kind introduction and for having me here to celebrate these amazing women and the incredible work they're doing through the world. It has been my honor to attend this celebration for the last 3 years. As First Lady of the United States, and I'm proud to represent a country that empowers and supports women here at home and on an international scale. Throughout history, women have contributed in so many ways to our society. Tomorrow is International Women's Day, yet another opportunity to recognize the work of women throughout time. Women continue to influence the world in so many powerful ways. We now have more women in Congress than any other time in our nation's history. Women's unemployment in the United States has reached the lowest level in 65 years. And more than 2 million more women are working today than in November 2016. This is something to celebrate. As I have said before, I believe courage is one of the qualities we need most in society. It is what propels us forward. Courage is what divides those who only talk about change from those who actually act to change. Courage takes sacrifice, bravery, and humility. It is the ability to put others first. The courage of women throughout our history continues to inspire us, and it is my great privilege to recognize today women who have achieved remarkable success. I know we all have the courage within us to achieve great things for the betterment of this world. The women we are honoring today, a symbol of courage. They're human rights advocates in some of the most dangerous parts of our world, and they have pushed through gender-based stereotypes to serve the greater good. These courageous women nurture and serve the lives of vulnerable and forgotten within communities. They are role models to the next generation. Through their work, they empower women everywhere, and I, for one, am grateful for their work. I want to thank the Secretary Pompeo and State Department and the Office of Global Women's Issues for all the work they are doing in the pursuit of a world that is more free and more prosperous. I look forward to today's celebration. God bless you, your families, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.